Hey, everybody, welcome back for second semester of physics. I figured I'd give you a quick overview, just to kind of what to expect from physics this semester, and then a quick look through this unit or this week, and then this unit, so you have some idea what to expect and what to be looking for. So second semester physics is real different topic-wise than first semester physics. First semester physics was all about motion. It was all about kinematics, acceleration, displacement, and then we get into interactions with motion, things like collisions and force and work and all that kind of good stuff. Second semester is all about waves. It's kind of the general theme of what we do. And we'll do kind of a variety of different stuff. So we start off with waves in general. And then next week we'll be doing sound, which is one specific type of wave. And then we'll spend a couple weeks on light waves and doing some different phenomena that light do as well, things like color and stuff like that. And then we'll also get into how light interacts with matter, things like how does light do reflection and bounce off of mirrors and different types of mirrors, and then how does it pass through things, especially lenses, which is called refraction, and then kind of deal with that and being able to predict where images are and all that kind of stuff. And in the mirror and lenses unit, we tend to do some technical drawing, a real different kind of skill. And then after that, we transition to after the couple of light units, we end up transitioning over to, I was just looking at my notes here, I think we get away from light specifically and look more at electricity. So our kind of last unit is last set of units is about electromagnetism. So we'll do static electricity, we'll do a short unit on electric current, just a real broad introduction to that. And then the very last unit of the year is magnetism. I think I remembered all the units that we're doing. So roughly, I'll have it kind of arranged so that there's like a unit or a topic for each week. And so we'll sort of kind of link them together. I'm not saying we'll have an assessment every week, but we'll have sort of a theme of the week in terms of what our units are. So like this week's theme is about waves and harmonic motion or periodic motion. And then next week, our theme will be about sound. And then the week after that, it'll be about light. So again, just kind of a theme of the week sort of thing. The content is a lot less mathy in this term. This particular unit's got some math equations. They all have a couple little ones in there. But it's not nearly as mathy, and the math is not as complicated. You'll have some little formulas here and there. But again, with this kind of distance learning format, you can use resources and have an equation written down. So I don't feel so bad for you. It's not like you have to memorize a bunch of stuff for this. On the other hand, this does mean that it's a lot more conceptual. You have to kind of be thinking about how processes work. It's not just sketch some math on there and then assume that you know what you did. So the homework and the assessments in this particular unit are a lot more discussion and explain kind of based. So just be aware of that, considering your strengths and weaknesses, that it's just a different style of communication, different style of understanding. So, and then we'll definitely have some, like I said, some technical drawing as we get into the light waves and things like that. So anyway, kind of a variety of different stuff that we end up doing. We'll also have some more, so anyway, relating to homework. So there's less math homework that's associated with these chapters, but there is more writing homework that's associated with these. And it's not long writing. I don't mean it that way, but definitely more of the short answer kind of questions where you have to, explain what happens when light bounces off something. So make sure that in this unit, as you're kind of turning in homework, what I'm looking for is still that show your work sort of mentality. But in this case, if it's not a math question, show your work means explain what you're thinking. You really shouldn't be having one-word answers. It should be yes and then because. Pretty much any single answer you can think of, you want to put that because phrase in there. So that's a real key part about, like I said, showing your understanding or your level of understanding and challenging yourself to make sure that you get it. Some of you guys noticed in the last chapter that taking notes and things like that is can be more useful than maybe you'd think. So when I do the lesson videos, it's probably not a bad idea. I'm not requiring it, but it's probably not a bad idea to record or to take some notes in there. And not just notes on formulas and math, but notes on ideas and processes, things like that, so that as you're doing your homework, you've got that to reference to. And I'll try to keep sticking it kind of in line with the textbook, so at least you have another reference material to look at. But I'll try not to. I'm not going to go word for word with the book, but try to give you some parallel between those two particular sources. So anyway, so we talked about the textbook, we talked about overall topics, talked about kind of homework in general. We'll still have homework and stuff like that due. It'll be the same kind of thing where you're going to send me pictures of your homework and kind of show me your learning understanding. I'm more looking for the effort than anything else. It's that chance to check yourself. Do I get this or don't I? So if you don't get it, don't fake it. Just ask. That's a really easy thing. Send me an email or a text or use Google Classroom and post a question for everybody. And that's the way to get where you get it. With physics, just like I said in the kind of overview video, the whole goal here is to make sure that you get something out of class, that it's not just a joke, that it's not just, push the button 3 times and get the answer to the question on the test. I'm not going to do tests and assessments like that. My goal is to make this worth your time so that you actually learn something, and that when you get out of here, you actually know something interesting about some physics phenomena. And that if you ever have to take physics again, that you're like, oh, dude, I learned some of this stuff. I'm set. And that's my goal. So again, try to keep that mentality as we move forward, that I will not put things out there that waste your time. If you approach it with that mentality of getting what you can out of it, it will be worth your time as well. And that's kind of the mentality we need to try to keep focusing on as we go through the semester. It's hard sometimes, man. It's really hard. But that's the idea. So anyway, for this particular unit, we have a real quick one this week. It's going to be basically 4 days plus, and I'll explain what I mean. So this particular unit here is about waves, an introduction to waves, and about periodic and harmonic motion. Repeating motion is what it's about. So I know you can see the Google Classroom that I've got kind of set up there for you. This is first period, so if you're in second years, it's a different color, but it's same stuff. So here's what you've got in here, and I'm going to kind of click through these so you can kind of see what the different assignments are. So Chapter 4 homework is a pretty traditional homework assignment in a lot of ways. I do want to warn you right now that it looks like it has a lot of problems, and there's a lot of real short little problems. A lot of these are the open-ended ones, or like you can kind of see up here where I'm kind of doing the practice problems number 1 through 8. These are literally just, practice using the formula, plug some numbers in and solve kind of thing, practice your algebra. And the chapter problem's kind of similar to it. I did kind of change the way I worded some of these to kind of give you that idea of what are the skills that you need, so that as you're finishing up with the chapter, that you kind of like know what you should be able to do, or what kinds of questions you should be able to answer. So hopefully you won't find these too tough. Once I get the lesson videos posted up, that will certainly help. But again, typical kind of do it in your notebook or on a separate piece of paper, take pictures, upload, post, etc. So that should be pretty straightforward for you. Second thing on here is that I will post up the lesson videos. I'm going to record them as soon as I'm done recording this one and the similar chem one that I have to do. So I'll get those posted up here really quickly. I believe there's going to be 4 for this particular chapter. 1, 2, and 3 will be up hopefully by the end of the day today. 4 will probably be up tomorrow. I've got kind of suggested timelines on here for when you should get them done. Because you want to be kind of at the point of being close to done with this unit on Thursday to Friday. So there's going to be a little overlap between this unit and next unit. So I'll explain what I mean by that here in just a second. This unit is also going to have several different lab simulations to play with. So lab simulation 1 and 2 are already up here, and these go along with the first couple of videos. So lab simulation number 1 has to do with periodic motion or simple harmonic motion, specifically about how a pendulum moves, what sorts of factors affect the motion of the pendulum, and what sorts of factors don't, actually. It has a couple little practice problems at the end for you to do. So the link is right there for you to kind of click on, and then there's the document there. So with the document, did I actually do assign one for everybody, or just a view? If I just did a view all, then just click it and make save a copy for yourself, and then turn that back in with your answers and stuff that's on there. And again, it just kind of guides you through sort of some specific things to look for as you're playing with it. Don't take a ton of time on this. This is not meant to take you an hour. And it should just be something that you can kind of play with. I believe with the pendulum, yes, with the pendulum lab, there are like 3 different sections to the pendulum lab. I only need you to do the intro section of the pendulum lab. There's the 2 other sections. One has to do with energy, and then one has to do with the lab. You don't need to do those unless you're enjoying yourself and having fun nerding out, in which case, go for it. I'll give you extra credit if you do. But this one, I'm just asking you to run the intro simulation for that. So again, make sure to fill this thing out, and this is how you're going to get lab points for doing that. It's not necessarily about being perfect, but it's about giving you some framework for as you're exploring that lab simulation. What are some of the things that you should be looking for or thinking about as you go? There's a similar one, lab simulation number 2, that has to do with waves in general, different types of waves and characteristics of waves. So it has to do with water waves, which is the ones you're most familiar with seeing, and then sound waves and light waves. So please explore through this one. You can either do this one as a part of like 14.1. You could easily do this today and get plenty out of it, or you can wait and do it for 14.3. It doesn't really matter which one you do, but which order you do it in. It kind of overlaps both of them, just the way that the book kind of sets up those topics. So again, this will just lead you through what to do, how to look at these waves, some of the different things to look for, some of the tools to use that are in there, just to try to give you, again, some framework for it. Again, I'm not trying to get you to do a bunch of long work on this, but this is a lab that we would normally do with Slinkies at home, and we can't quite do that one the same way. I'll have a different Slinky simulation lab here for you. It will be the third one that'll post up. So again, kind of process your way through there, play around with it, have some fun playing with it, get your brain turned on. Think about some physics a little bit. Have a take it as an opportunity to do something sort of interesting and different, and hopefully you learn something out of that process. And then again, make sure you put your answers in there, put your name on there, hit submit. Again, if I didn't do one copy for everybody, then just make a copy and submit that on Google Classroom. Please don't email that to me because I'm getting too much stuff. There will be a third one. This is the wave interactions one. I won't have this posted up yet because I have to write up the document that goes with it. This is a bigger one. This one's going to take more time, and this is what we would typically call the Slinky Lab. So I'm going to actually have you do this on Friday. So this is not due on Thursday. The other stuff's due on Thursday. This one will be due on Friday, but you can start at any time this week that you want to. And this is more about wave interactions. It still has to do with chapter 4. But it has to do with what we would call interference more than anything else, and reflection and some of those sorts of concepts as waves start to sort of bounce off of one another and happen. So I'll get this posted up probably Tuesday and or Wednesday, since it's halfway through Monday today. So those are the things that you've got due this week. So this week, what is due? On Thursday, you have 3 assignments that are due on Thursday. The first thing, it'll be the chapter 14 homework. Again, notebook, paper, crank it out. The 2 labs, the simulations, motion of a pendulum, and introduction to waves, are both then due on Thursday. This one, lab 3, this will be due on Friday. It even says it up here, April 17th. I'm trying to be better about posting correct dates on those, so that'll be due on Friday. And this will actually kind of wrap together. So note, something that's important here is that I don't think you can see this one on yours because I don't have anything in there yet. I'm not going to do an assessment this Friday. I'm going to do an assessment next Friday. That's going to be a combination between chapter 14, which is this one, and 15, which is sound. And I'm going to combine those 2 together. That's what I would normally do in class anyway. We did a combo test between the 2 of them. So that's why I don't feel bad about having this lab simulation here due on like Friday. It'll kind of overlap between the 2. And I'll start posting up the sound stuff on Friday as well, so you can kind of wrap that around into next week. And there'll be another lab simulation or 2, at least one, that'll be due next week as well. So again, this lab 3, due on Friday. That's more of a soft due date. That's kind of like maybe due this weekend is kind of a way to think about it. And then I'll post the chapter 15 homework. So there you go. Gives you an idea of kind of what the homework overview is. I've got to go, like I said, record one of these overview videos for chemistry, and then I will get your lesson videos posted up. I've got 3 of them done. And the 4th one I will probably get up tomorrow or the next day. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Some of you guys just like to, just disappear off in the distance and I never hear from you. So please send me an email if you're having questions or concerns. Don't just not turn something in. Let me know what's going on in your life. If you can't turn something in on a Thursday, just say hi. Just reach out and say, hey, it's been a crazy week. Can I please have an extra day? I'll give it to you. Just communicate. That's really the key part. It's very difficult for me to go back and kind of mop up stuff, from like 2 weeks ago, just because of the way that this online digital stuff works. It's actually a lot harder for me to go back and kind of trace those things down. So like I said, if you need something, just communicate. Send me an email, send me a text and remind. If you're not in Remind yet, you should. I'm going to repost that. But if you're not in Remind yet, you should, because it's an easy way for me to get info out to you. Okay? All right. Take care, you guys. And I will talk to you soon. Have fun with those lab sims. And I'll see you a little later. Bye.